At 82, George Wilson, a billionaire and former industrialist, lived in seclusion in his old mansion in Savannah, Georgia. He was tired of people. Over the past decades, he had been deceived by relatives, partners, doctors, and even his servants. Each betrayal left a scar. In the end, he shut himself off from everyone, surrounding himself only with cameras, security systems, and solitude. One day, he hired a new assistant, 30-year-old Emily Brooks. She had come to Savannah from a small town in Kentucky, dreaming of finishing university and earning a degree in art history. Emily worked as a cleaner to pay for her studies and help her parents, who were struggling to keep their small grocery store afloat in the rural countryside. The very next morning, Wilson decided to test her. He deliberately left his safe in his office open, with $5 million in cash inside. He hid in the attic and turned on the surveillance. As before, he expected that the young woman would not resist temptation. Emily entered the office, cleaned methodically, and soon noticed the open safe. However, instead of approaching it, she immediately called Wilson's secretary to report that he had probably forgotten to lock it. Then she brought a chair, set across from the safe, and guarded the money until his return. Throughout the day, she didn't even go to the kitchen for lunch, instead snacking right there, keeping the safe under watch. Later, her parents called. Their store was at risk of closure due to a bank debt. Emily cried, looking helplessly at the open safe. Yet in the end, she approached it and closed it, entering the code so that no one could access the money. Later that evening, Wilson came down, pretending he had just returned. In the office, he revealed himself and said it had been a test, and she was the first to pass it. He handed her an envelope with $50,000. Emily refused, saying she had only acted according to her conscience. Then she admitted, 2 years ago, her cousin had needed an urgent heart surgery. A benefactor had paid for it anonymously. Emily had accidentally discovered that it was George Wilson. Since then, she had dreamed of thanking him personally, which was why she had applied for the job. Wilson was astonished. He had thought no one remembered his good deeds. He opened the safe, took out some documents, and showed Emily that he had already changed his will. Now she would become the heir not only to part of his fortune, but also the manager of his charitable foundation, which he had been building for decades. Emily was stunned. She didn't consider herself worthy. But Wilson said that was precisely why he had chosen her, for her honesty, humility, and genuine desire to help people. 6 months later, Emily's life had changed. Her parents' store was saved, she continued her studies, and simultaneously learned to manage the foundation. Together with Wilson, they developed new support programs for low-income families, students, the elderly, and the sick. The old mansion was no longer empty. Emily became like a granddaughter to Wilson. They had meals together, discussed ideas, and talked about the meaning of life. He felt that he had finally found not just an heir, but a person who would carry on his work. And one day, sitting on the terrace and looking over evening Savannah, Wilson quietly said, "I always thought I would leave money behind. But it turns out, I'm leaving you. And that is far more."